All right, let's take a few minutes just to discuss a subject that we've talked about many times, and that is distractions for investors, distractions with investing. Based on experience working with investors, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I believe it is mostly insignificant what an index such as the Dow or the NASDAQ or the S&P or a particular fund or a particular stock has done over the last week, the last month, the last year, the last 5 years, the last 10 years, the last 20 years. And the reason that I say that is that has very little bearing on each person's unique situation and what they're trying to accomplish. Why would we take a stance that those numbers, those benchmarks have very little to do with an actual investor and actual goals and what they're trying to accomplish? First, I would say most investors want to achieve those returns, but in reality, they can't stand the heat. When the market doesn't go our way, it is mostly or entirely impossible for most investors to ever stay put, because the only way that you're going to get that return for the last 10 years or the last 20 years or have any chance of getting that return is if you are invested every day through every experience in that last 10 or 20 years. And frankly, most people aren't capable of doing that. Second, past performance is no guarantee of future results. I know we've seen that disclaimer over and over and over for compliance reasons, but it's completely accurate. Just because a benchmark or an investment that we're looking at over a past 10 years has achieved that return, it may or may not achieve that return the next 10 years. So it's really immaterial in my opinion, except for just looking at the history of the investment to make a good judgment on making an investment. But the number itself and trying to achieve that number, I would argue, is not really relevant. Third thing I would say is you may or may not even need to take that risk to achieve that stated return. If you're near or in retirement or several years into retirement and you've got a plan and you need to accomplish a 6 or a 7% return to be able to accomplish all of your goals, be able to leave a legacy, whatever it is that you want to do, and you can do that driving 65 or 70 miles an hour when the speed limit's 75, would you even really want to drive 100 miles an hour to try to get that little bit of extra return? A better strategy I found throughout the years with my own portfolio and working with our clients is to do a little soul searching. What are your goals, your dreams? What are you trying to accomplish over the long term? And what risk is going to allow you to stay invested to have an opportunity in the future to hopefully see good returns? And then from that, back into that number on what type of return you're actually seeking to accomplish your goals. In my experience, you're going to be much more likely to stick with your strategy, stay invested, achieve a fair, reasonable long-term return, and be able to do those things that you're wanting to accomplish.